Good morning. It's Thursday, February the 27th, and this is The Drill. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm Ron, your host and the only true conservative in the United States today. I created this podcast to answer the question most asked by conservatives, namely, what can I do? My podcast is short, approximately 5 to 10 minutes long, because shorter podcasts are easier to download and listen to, and shorter podcasts force me to get to the point. I've been listening to Rush Limbaugh since '89, listening to Sean Hannity since he became syndicated, and listening to Hugh Hewitt, Glenn Beck, and Joe Pags for about 5 years. Unlike those who pretend to know socialism, I actually do know socialism because I grew up in a socialist household. My podcast is made available through Spreaker and can be heard on iTunes, Spotify, Google, and YouTube. Today, don't spread the disease. Tweet of the day: Commie Mommy, Socialist Power, and Corporate Welfare. All that when I come back. Thank you. What can I do to be effective and fight socialism? Number one, don't spread the disease. That means don't ape the left. Don't imitate the left's ideas, slogans, mannerisms, etc. The left operates very often with subtlety and nuance. Using a word or slogan that you've heard on the street may help the left to promote a subversive idea. For instance, the expression stakeholder. Stakeholder is an expression that was promulgated by the left to use as an anti-concept. An anti-concept is a concept that is used in preference to a legitimate concept. In this case, the concept is conflict of interest. The left needed to obliterate conflict of interest in order to more effectively promote public employee unions. If we look at public employee unions as a conflict of interest, no one will agree to them. But if we look at public employees as stakeholders, everyone will agree to them. This is the reason that despite opposition from every politician in the country, left or right, we have public employee unions. When I come back, the tweet of the day. Thank you. Tweet of the day from radio station KFI AM 640. Quote, a Lincoln Navigator with casket and body inside stolen in the Arcadia area. The hearse was reported stolen about 8:05 p.m. Wednesday from the 700 block of Rosemead Boulevard near St. Anthony Greek Orthodox Church, according to Deputy Juanita Navarro Suarez of the Sheriff's Information Bureau, unquote. No comment necessary. Next up, Commie Mommy. Thank you very much. There are those that say correctly that the job of parents is to be parents. There are those who say incorrectly that the job of parents is to be friends. Then there is Commie Mommy, who decided that the job of parents is to run a regime. My communist foster mother Gerda ran the household like a communist dictatorial regime. And what good communist dictator doesn't use religion to further the aims of the regime? When Commie Mommy needed a free babysitter, she would send us children to church. When we returned filled with God's love, she would belittle us and ridicule our faith. She would forbid us from discussing the sermons and singing the psalms that we had learned from our babysitter. Bad mommy. Bad mommy. When I come back, socialist power lust. Thank you. A demonstration of the influence of socialist culture, Life is About Power, is the public service announcement that plays recordings of people that call 911 to report trivial, everyday frustrations. Fast food places that are out of menu items are typical. One recording is of a 36-year-old woman who continues to call 911 to report her parents for refusing to pay her cell phone bill. This trend is new. Years ago, no one would even think about wasting the time of emergency services. But that was years ago, before the left was able to convince a large portion of our society that acting ethically wasn't as important as acting powerfully. That added to being brainwashed into believing that they are terminally unique, meaning that they are completely different from everyone else, therefore beyond understanding by anyone else, and therefore not subject to restrictions by anyone else, led those people to believe that they could operate without fear of consequences. Wrong answer. Next up, corporate welfare. Thank you very much. Bernie Sanders has said in response to the charge that he is a socialist that the country is already socialist because we give corporations welfare, quote unquote. What Mr. Sanders is describing is the socialist canard that the United States has always been a welfare state, and the heroic socialists are simply making sure that the welfare is going that the welfare that is going to evil capitalists goes instead to the poor and needy. What Mr. Sanders is doing is using the word welfare in its connotative rather than its denotative state. In other words, he's using the word figuratively instead of literally. If Mr. Sanders can con conservatives into going along with this poetic sleight of hand, he can subvert and control the argument. A true conservative should not allow this to happen. If you encounter a lefty waxing poetic, you should call them on it and tell them, you can't be serious. Back in a minute. Thank you. Who is the true conservative? He's the person that understands that conservatism is not just about politics, but culture as well. He's not selfish, but minds his own business. He acts like an adult. He's patriotic and uses common sense. He expresses what he knows and does so with certainty. He makes judgments, refuses to speculate, speaks clearly and definitively, and is not afraid to say no. He is open-minded, asking why rather than why not. He is consistent, credible, and influential, not ashamed of his existence, unafraid to learn or correct his mistakes. He is a normal American, and he is better than the socialist. He is a better friend, father, brother, family member, and a better person, period. You have to know that. If you don't know with every fiber of your being that being a true conservative is best, then you're wasting your time. And that brings me to the end of another episode of The Drill. Remember that the left has no authority, no power, and they can't win. Think about it.